I dug through tens of thousands of forum posts from Ford truck owners with over 300,000 miles on the odometer. Every single one of them did the same 7 things, and almost none of them followed Ford maintenance schedules as written. Here are the 7 habits that separate Ford trucks that last 300,000 miles from the ones that blow engines at 150,000 miles, starting with the one every high-mileage owner agrees on. Number 7. They changed oil more often than Ford recommended. Not one 300,000-mile Ford truck I found followed Ford's standard 7,500 to 10,000-mile oil change interval. Every single one ran 5,000-mile intervals with full synthetic. Here is why. If you tow, idle in traffic, drive in heat above 90 degrees, or make trips under 10 miles, Ford classifies you as severe duty. Most truck owners qualify and do not even know it. For the 3.5-liter EcoBoost, the turbocharger's heat oil passed 400 degrees in the bearing housings, breaking down viscosity fast. Ford has actually issued internal service bulletins linking timing chain wear directly to oil degradation in these engines. That repair runs $2,500 to $4,000. The cost of switching from 10,000-mile to 5,000-mile oil changes is about $60 a year. That is the cheapest insurance you will ever buy on a Ford truck. Number 6. They use the exact oil specification Ford requires. High-mileage owners do not just buy 5W30 off the shelf, they match Ford's engineering specification. For most modern F-150s, that is WSS M2C961A1. For older Triton engines, WSS 2CT946A. These specifications control the additive package and shear stability that keep hydraulic pressure stable inside the variable camshaft timing system. Owners running bargain oil that meets the viscosity but not the specification report cam, phaser rattle developing between 60,000 and 100,000 miles. Owners running the correct spec report no phaser issues past 250,000. The price difference is about $10 per oil change. A cam phaser replacement on a 5.0 Coyote runs $2,500 to $4,500 because Ford lists the labor at 11 hours, $10 now or $4,000 later. The 300,000-mile guys made that math a long time ago. Number 5. They changed the transmission fluid way before Ford says to. This is the hill every high-mileage Ford owner will die on. Ford says change the 10R80 transmission fluid at 150,000 miles. Some dealers call it a lifetime fill. Every 300,000-mile truck I researched had the fluid changed between 30,000 and 50,000 miles. Every single one. The 10R80 uses tiny hydraulic passages in the valve body machined from aluminum without hardened sleeves. That aluminum wears and creates metallic particles that contaminate everything. Ford has released at least 3 separate service bulletins just since 2022 trying to address shifting problems in this transmission. 3 bulletins for the same issue tells you exactly how well the lifetime fill recommendation is working. A drain and fill with motorcraft fluid and a new filter costs about $200 to $300. A transmission replacement runs $3,800 to $5,500. Forum data shows failures clustering between 80,000 and 120,000 miles in trucks that never had their fluid changed. Trucks serviced every 30 to 50,000 miles report smooth shifting past 200,000. One quote from the PowerStroke forum says it all. The owner's manual was written by lawyers, not engineers. But nothing on this list compares to number 1. It is the most expensive, most common, and most preventable failure in modern Ford trucks. If you own any F-150 from 2011 through 2020, stay with me. Number 4. They replaced coolant early. Ford says 100,000 miles. Owners with 300,000 miles change coolant at 75,000 miles. They use the latest Motorcraft yellow coolant, and they visually inspect the reservoir at every oil change. That means popping the coolant reservoir cap and looking for discoloration, floating particles, or an oily film on the surface. On the 3.5 EcoBoost, this matters more than you think. The water pump on pre-2021 models is buried inside the engine, driven by the timing chain. If coolant degradation kills that pump early, you are looking at the same teardown as a timing chain job, over $3,000 in labor alone. A coolant flush costs $100 to $150. Every high-mileage owner I studied treated it as non-negotiable cheap insurance. Number 3, they never push the spark plug interval. Ford recommends spark plug replacement at 60,000 miles for most engines. 300,000-mile owners replace them at or before that number, never after. For 5.4-liter Triton owners, this literally saved engines. The Triton 3 valve uses a two-piece plug design where the electrode end can separate and get stuck in the head. Carbon buildup welds them in place over time. Wait too long and the plug breaks during removal, sending metal into the cylinder. That turns a $200 service into a $6,000 engine teardown. Experienced Triton owners apply anti-seize compound on the threads, and many remove and reinstall plugs at 30,000 miles just to break the carbon seal, even if the plugs are still good. For EcoBoost owners, the 300,000-mile crowd replaces ignition coil boots with every plug change. Ford has documented carbon tracking on the spark plug insulators that causes progressive misfires in these engines. The boots degrade from heat cycling, and they cost almost nothing to replace during a plug service. Number 2, they serviced every fluid. Ford barely mentions the rear differential, front differential, and transfer case all have gear oil that degrades under load. Ford buries these service items at 150,000 miles. High mileage owners do them every 50,000 to 60,000 miles. A rear differential fluid change costs $30 to $50 and takes 20 minutes. You pull the differential cover, let the old gear oil drain into a catch pan, clean the cover, and bolt it back on with fresh fluid. A rear differential rebuild runs $1,500 to $2,500. Transfer case fluid on a four-wheel drive truck is the same story. Wrong spec fluid causes shudder and premature chain wear. Right fluid on the right interval. Costs almost nothing. Every owner with 300,000 miles inspects the magnetic drain plug during each fluid service, looking for metallic particles. A $50 fluid change doubles as an early warning system for problems that would otherwise stay invisible until they become catastrophic. They understood and managed the cam phaser system from day one. This was the defining finding. Every modern Ford engine, the 5.0 Coyote, the 3.5 EcoBoost, and the 2.7 EcoBoost uses cam phasers. They all share one vulnerability. They depend entirely on clean oil at adequate pressure to function. Ford has known about this for 2 decades. They issued their first internal service bulletin for cam phaser problems on the 5.4 Triton back in 2008. Over 47,000 owner reports on the major Ford truck forums describe the same progressive failure pattern across every engine platforms. By 2017 through 2020, the problem hit both the Coyote and EcoBoost so hard that Ford extended warranty coverage for phaser repairs, covering 100% of costs under 70,000 miles and 66% between 70,000 and 80,000 miles. That coverage expired in January 2023, leaving hundreds of thousands of owners paying out of pocket. Ford has since released multiple bulletins covering cold start rattle in the 3.5 EcoBoost, engine noise in the Coyote that a software update failed to fix, and excessive oil consumption in 2018 through 2020, Coyote trucks caused by piston ring design changes that pull oil into the combustion chambers. Less oil means less pressure, and less pressure means faster phaser wear. A class action lawsuit was filed in 2025 over this exact pattern. Here's the cost math. Skipping one oil change saves you $60. The degraded oil lets phaser wear begin. Within 20 to 30,000 miles, you hear a rattle on cold startup. Most owners ignore it because it goes away after a few seconds. But that worn phaser is letting the timing chain go slack. The slack chain stretches the guides. The guides crack. Once that chain jumps timing, you're not replacing phasers anymore. You are rebuilding the entire engine. Within another 30,000 miles, you are looking at $3,500 to $5,000 for a phaser job, or $8,000 or more if the chain already took the engine with it. The 300,000-mile owners spent roughly $600 to $900 more over the entire life of the truck in extra oil changes. The repair they avoided costs 4 to 8 times that in a single visit. The 300,000-mile owners follow 3 rules for the cam phaser system. They never let oil level drop below full between changes, checking monthly. They use only oil meeting Ford's exact engineering specification. And the moment they hear any rattle on cold startup, they treat it as urgent, not normal. They address it before wear cascades into timing chain damage that doubles the cost. 7 habits. That is the difference between a Ford truck heading to the junkyard and one still towing at 300,000 miles. These owners did not have special trucks. They had a strategy. And now you have it too.